Hi everyone, it's me, Arden Lee. I am back today with another video, and in today's video, I am going to address the subject of what do you do if someone you know has started to gain a bit of an awareness of their patterns and their choices and where they need to make the change, but they're in this liminal space between a complete lack of awareness and a readiness to actually take the plunge and make actual changes to their lives. What do you do? How do you encourage someone in that direction? How can you support them without enabling them, right? That's a really, really good question. So we're gonna talk a little bit about that today. If you're not yet familiar with me or my work, my name is Arden Lee. I'm the creator of the Repatterning Project. It is an 8-week course where we examine our patterns. We learn a comprehensive view of our human operating system so we can see how our beliefs and patterns form, and then we gain the empowerment, the tools to be able to actually change them. If you're interested in that, check out the description box. I have a link to a free PDF guide about it. I also have a link to the Repatterning Parlor, which is the free group that I moderate on Facebook for people who are interested in beginning this work. So that's one thing you can do, by the way. If you know someone who is interested but isn't quite ready to take the plunge yet, set up the Facebook group. We'd love to have them in the parlor. That way they can start to see the results that other people there have gotten and are continuing to get, and get that support and start to really believe in the possibility for change for themselves, right? You start getting people really investing in themselves when they believe that change is actually possible. When we're stuck in our old patterns, sometimes it's like we're seeing what's going on, but we're unable to see the possibility that's on the other side of it. So we're like, wow, I'm surrounded by garbage fire right now. I'm aware that I'm surrounded by garbage fire, but I can't yet imagine what it's going to be like to not be surrounded by garbage fire. I don't yet believe that it's possible for me to not be surrounded by garbage fire, because in my viewpoint right now, I actually believe that the whole world is made up of garbage fire because that's all I've known, right? Trust me, I've been in that space. So here's something interesting. In the past couple months, I've started to learn a little bit more about sales. I'm not someone who has, up until a year ago, up until and including a year ago, I would not have said that I was someone who was terribly business savvy. It was not my jam, not my forte. I've spent time learning plenty about trauma and human behavior, and I'm great at that stuff, but actually making a business out of it was something that was a blind spot to me, was something that I was not well versed in. And so over the past couple months especially, I've started really learning about sales and learning how to really enroll people in a greater vision for themselves, to allow them to see what is possible. But the more and more that I do this work, the more and more that I realize that ultimately it's just about getting out of my own way and stopping my own limiting beliefs about sales or enrollment being like sleazy or smarmy or coercive or whatever, and just presenting, hey, here is what's possible for you, here is what is available to you. If you're ready for it, great. And I'm also very lucky in that, I make a lot of content. You guys, if you're watching my videos, you probably know that by now. I make a lot of content. My clients have posted amazing, amazing testimonials about the results that they have gotten from taking the course. And so I'm very lucky in that in the majority of the calls that I've taken in the last couple months, and we're currently enrolling for a start June 30th, where that's our next iteration of the course. So if you're interested, by the way, shoot me a message, and we'll hop on a phone call and we'll see if it's right for you as well. But the vast majority, 9 out of 10 people that I hop on the phone with, end up being a yes, because they've already seen all of the evidence and they're ready. They're just at that point where they don't need any convincing. And yeah, there's been 1 out of 10 people or whatever who, and I feel it in their bodies and they're just not ready. And I can present them with all the evidence. I can show them, I can tell them, here's what's going on for you, and here's how this is going to help you. And sometimes I can feel the resistance, well, I gotta think about it, or I need more information, or whatever. And so many of so many of the teachers in sales would say, like, well, hold them to that vision, hold them there, hold them accountable, and sure, if I weren't making any sales, if I were making, like, if all of my calls were ending that way, then yeah, then there would probably be an issue on my end that I'd want to look at. But the fact that it's really been only about 1 in 10 people who have still felt that resistance when they get on the phone with me, man, I'm not gonna lie, part of me just wants to honor that. If someone's not ready, then they're not ready, and I'm not gonna force someone violently. Like, that's a violent thing. Awakening someone without their permission is like, hey, right? You're like putting an alarm clock in their face. People really have to be ready. Here's an interesting thing that happened is that, the first time I enrolled in the people in the course, and even the second time. So we're coming up on June 30th when we start. It's going to be the third time that this course happens. The first 2 times, one being a year ago and the second one being, this past January, there were times that I felt frustration and even like a hint of bitterness, because there were people who were following my work and following my journey, and they were like kind of commenting on my posts or being like, well, what about this or what about that or whatever, but they weren't taking the leap. And I was so mad. I was like, just do it, stop asking me for permission and just do it. And what's amazing is that there was part of me at the time, sometimes I was like, I'm just going to give up on this person. They're just clearly not ready, and whatever, who cares? I'm just going to, work with the people that I have in front of me. And I really thought at the time, I was like, they're whatever. They're a lost cause. They're just never going to do anything about it. And then amazingly enough, sometimes about 6 months later, just out of the woodwork, they just came forward and they were like, okay, I'm ready. Some people didn't even have to hop on a call with me. They were just like, I'm ready now. And I was like, oh, wow. It's not that they weren't willing to do the work. They just needed a little bit more time to gestate with it before they were ready to take that plunge. And when I look at myself and I look at all the ways that I acted before I went down this path and all of the years that I spent, I look back at some of my Facebook memories, you guys, right? Like tweets I made a long time ago, like Facebook posts I made a long time ago. And sometimes I read them and I'm like, wow, I was super aware of all the problems that were going on, but it took me years before I could envision the solution, right? So it would be pretty hypocritical of me. Like it's my intention to make the solution as clear as possible to people just by embodying it in my own life and creating it for other people who are ready, for my clients who do take the plunge, and being able to jump into that work with so much dedication and so much precision that they do benefit from it, and then they become examples of that work in the world. I just want to keep doing that. I don't want to force anyone who's not ready. I just want to keep presenting more and more evidence that it works. I want to keep presenting more evidence of the solution, that there is a solution, because in order for us to believe that there's a way out of our problems, we have to be able to see the solution. So here's my advice. It's frustrating dealing with people like this, but it's only frustrating when you believe that the way that they're acting now is the way that they're always going to act. And that's possible, right? There's certainly, if someone shows you their patterns and especially if they're continuing to affect you personally, then yeah, absolutely step back and take space if need be. And I specifically advise, something that I do is if someone continues to make the same complaint over and over again, I stop holding space for it unless they're ready to seek out a solution. One of the things I've said a lot in the past is, like, I don't hold space for venting. If you're someone who's very close to me and that is what you need from me, and we have that relationship, then yeah, absolutely, of course, I'm there, as your friend, as your lover, or whatever, to meet that need. But in general, if it's a pattern, no, don't waste my time complaining if you don't actually want to utilize my skill set and seek out a solution. Something I've said a number of times in the past is nobody goes to the Oracle at Delphi and complains about all their problems and then says, sorry, just venting. I'm not there for that. I'm not, it is a necessary sign of respect for me, quite frankly, that if you complain to me, that it is complaining that is seeking a solution, not a complaint that seeks to stay in the energy of the complaint. So that's something that I do for myself. And that's, that's my own self-care too, right? I just don't want to be around that kind of energy. It's one thing for you to not have everything figured out yet. It's another thing for you to not have everything figured out and not even be trying. And I'm just not, it doesn't utilize my skill set. If you need to vent, go do it to a wall. If you're not looking for me to respond and to help you, then utilize someone who doesn't have this brain. Go use that with your local bartender or whatever, because for me, my brain's going to be doing the thing anyway. If you're going to use that energy, then I need you to put it to good use. So I certainly can recommend that if someone is making the same complaint to you over and over again, that you draw a boundary and say, I don't want to listen to this complaint anymore unless you're actually going to start doing something different. What are you doing today that's different? Right? And you can certainly give them more and more evidence of the solution. I absolutely recommend, like I said, have them join the parlor, it's free if they're not willing to even just join a Facebook group to get support, and to get content about how to deal with more and more of their problems. Send them a video. That I make so many videos, you guys. Just go through the titles on my YouTube or on the repatterning page on Facebook and look for the videos and look for a title that speaks to the thing that they're dealing with, and send them that and say, here's a possible solution too. But in terms of actually causing a shift in them, that's a free will issue. And it's violent to awaken someone who's not ready. It's one thing to say, hey, I know there's a solution to this. I'd like to show you some things that will help you. And I want to see you take steps toward this in one way or another if you're going to keep talking about it in front of me. It's another thing to be attached so attached to someone's outcome that any hint of coercion or manipulation enters the picture. Because at the end of the day, I don't want people that I have to convince of my value, or of the value of doing the work in general. If they can't see it by the light that I'm already presenting, then maybe it's just not time. I've also stopped thinking of people as static, as being the decision that they're making today is going to be the decision that they make forever, because maybe it is that stepping back and saying, I'm not holding space for this complaint anymore, that's actually going to make something click for them, and for them to say, okay, I'm ready. And I really think that we have to get to either a point where we're so fed up with our circumstances, we're so fed up with all the garbage fire that we're seeing around ourselves, that we just have to reach that. For me, it was like, I was like, okay, I know nothing, Jon Snow, I surrender, right? And I had just gotten out of a relationship that had some really toxic codependent patterning in it, and I really had nothing to lose at that point. That was what brought me to that place. And it was like, I have nothing to lose anyway, so I might as well just not repeat that. Whatever I need to do to not do that again, let's just do it, right? Let's do it now while we can. And sure enough, you know, all that evidence was presented to me very quickly after I set that intention. And or someone needs to see evidence that a solution exists, enough evidence to believe that they can make that leap and trust that they can get there themselves as well. So you either have to be so fed up that you're just willing to just say fuck it and take that leap anyway, just because whatever is on the other side has to be better than what's happening in the present moment. Or you need to see evidence of what that is and be able to say, yes, that evidence is better than what's currently going on, and I no longer want to stay in that pattern because this is the thing that I want for myself. So so that's what I advise you to do is be the light, right? Be the lighthouse, not the life raft. And continue to show evidence of what is possible. Draw your boundaries where you need to. If someone is continuing to use you as a space to vent and complain and you don't align with that anymore, let them know, like, hey, I'm no longer okay with holding space for this problem because it's the same story over and over again. When you decide to take action and make a change, then I will be here for you. That's fine to say. And beyond that, maybe you pull back and maybe 6 months down the line they come to you and they say, okay, I'm ready. And I'd rather not get so attached to someone being ready right now that I create misalignment in our energy, in our connection, because they start to feel my judgment of them. Ooh, that was good. I didn't think of that before, but that was a good one. My problem with some of the sales tactics that really insist that it's like it has to be right now, right now, right now, you have them on the phone, close them right now, is that I don't want to put so much attachment and judgment into the connection that they become afraid to approach me 6 months later and say, okay, now I'm ready. So my job, as far as I see it, is just presenting more and more evidence of the solution and then getting out of the way. I'm here for the people who are ready for me, ultimately. I would love for more and more people to be ready for me. I think this work is of utmost importance, and I know how important it is, and I know how life-changing it is. And as a result, it would be incredibly violent of me if I tried to force it on someone. I really try to let them get to that space on their own. And the best thing that I can do is continue to be happy and be transparent about my happiness and be transparent about how I got here and how I started to feel so much better. And I advise you guys all to do the same. If you're doing that work in the world and it's working for you and you're getting frustrated that other people aren't, be the evidence of the solution. Be so bright in shining your light in the world that other people are inspired by you to take the steps that you took as well. That would be my recommendation for that. All right, thanks you guys. I appreciate your listening. Appreciate your being here. If you're someone who is still in that liminal space where you can't see anything other than the garbage fire that is currently around you, come talk to me. Send me a message. Let's talk about what solutions are possible for you. I'm seeing it happen all the time. It's just like everywhere. Just fireworks going off. So many people around me just blossoming into being. And I'd love to be able to do that for you too. So it is possible. You can do it. I promise. There is come to the light side. We have cookies. Thank you guys. I'll see you next time.